Anyway, so when it comes, because the blessing is such an important blessing, and the only one that the Torah commands, there is a concept of leading the benching. That means if you have three men who are sitting together, and by the way, if three women are sitting together, they could also do this, because this is a commandment, a positive commandment, and therefore it doesn't matter. There's no time for it. It's just whenever you eat.
Two men and one woman?
Two men, one woman, that doesn't work. Halacha doesn't allow that. Halacha's not because the women don't count, but because putting together men and women
you can't
ends up leading to things that may be inappropriate. So the halacha says three men sitting together, good, they count. Three men sitting together, that counts. Now what happens? So the person leading, who's chosen to lead, and there's all rules about this. Who do you honor to lead? So it says the owner of the home on Friday nights, he should lead, and the night meals, he should be leading the benching. And during the daytime, you could honor someone else, honor other people. Anyway, leading the benching, we also called who's going to bench. Like, in other words, who's going to lead? Who's going to lead the davening? Who's going to daven? Everybody's going to daven, but someone's going to daven, like be designated to lead the davening. And so you have the same thing by benching, leading the benching. Now, when you lead the benching with 3 people, you say one way. With 10 people, you say it a different way. Okay, so that's what he's saying over here. This categorization is employed by the Mishnah in Brachot, which means the Talmud, right? Talmud in Brachot, which is the first volume of Talmud and the first volume we will be studying as soon as we get our building together. When 3 are present, the leader says, "Let us bless him." When 10 are present, when 100 are present, when 10,000 are present, the leader says, and so on. See there. They're different combinations.
The leader says, "See there."
The leader says dot dot dot. You missed out the dot. Why didn't you enunciate those dots? Anyway, let's look at footnote number 28. That's where the explanation for all this is found. When 3 or more males, 13 years of age or older, join each other for a meal, a formal invitation to join in the blessing after meals is recited. This is called zimun in Hebrew, or invitation. That's what the word zimun means, invitation. The number of males present determines the exact phraseology of the zimun. The Mishnah states, when 3 are present, the leader says, "Let us bless." When 10 are present, he says, "Let us bless our God." When 100 are present, he says, "Let us bless the Lord our God." When 1,000 are present, he says, "Let us bless the Lord our God, the God of Israel." And when 10,000 are present, he says, "Let us bless the Lord our God, the God of Israel, Lord of hosts, who dwells among the cherubim." Applying the Mishnah to our context, 3 denotes single digits, 10 denotes 2 digits, 100 3 digits, 1,000 4 digits, 10,000 5 digits. A parenthetical note. The Talmud subsequently clarifies that this was the opinion of Rabbi Yossi HaGalili. The law, however, was set according to Rabbi Akiva, who maintains that whenever 10 men or any amount above 10 are present, the formula remains the same as for 10. In other words, this was just one opinion, but the one opinion shows that there are differences between 3 singles, 10 hundreds, thousands, and 10,000s. For technicality, Rabbi Akiva doesn't say that that's how you should actually do it, because for whatever reason, I'm not going to get into that now. But Rabbi Yossi HaGalili proves that they were aware of differences in the 5 categories, which are, again, singles, doubles, triples, quadruples, and quintuples. Page 34. To explain, this is an idea that is talked about a lot in Hasidic and Kabbalistic philosophy, this idea of singles and doubles and all that. and it's learned from the Sarah, and when the Torah describes her passing. It is written, this is the opening words of the portion, Chaye Sarah, the fifth portion of the Torah. Sarah has died right after Isaac was taken, the binding of Isaac, before he was just about to be killed, and he was not in the end. So it is written, the life of Sarah was 100 years, 20 years, and 7 years. Now that is the exact quote. It's strange to add the word years between each one. You could have just said 120 and 7 years, which is how Hebrew would be understood. The fact that it puts years in between, 100 years, 20 years, and 7 years, is an oddity, peculiar, and it calls attention. There's something strange. Rashi, who is the commentary that everybody goes to first, he says that you compare her 100 years to her 20 years. And when it comes to 20, a person has assumed complete and full and utter responsibility for him or herself and her actions. When you're 13 or 12, you become responsible. But then sort of things hang. By the time you're 20, there's 100% responsibility. That's your mature adult stage. And so you compare the 100 to her 20s. In other words, she was free of sin at 100 or 127 as she was at the age of 20. And 20 to 7 is comparable, just like she was as beautiful as a young child, as a young lady at the age of 20, at the age of 7, throughout her time. So the comparison, the years and years and years in between come to tell you that each one of them is learned from the other one. It's not simply 127 years old, but each digit comes to teach you about something special about her life. That's the simple way of looking at it. But the Kabbalistic way is as follows. The Zohar, in volume 1, page 123, explains. 100 years, what is that reference to? In other words, the fact that there are years, the word years in between each of the numbers. So he says the 100 years, the Holy One is united in the supernal place which is most hidden. Hidden meaning most remote, most sublime. It's very heavily spiritual. So the Holy One is united in the supernal place which is most hidden, the level of 100, in the secret of the 100 daily blessings. That's in the secret of 100 daily blessings. We'll get to that in a minute. Likewise, regarding the level of 20 years, which is that unity of God is also in the 20, the number symbolized by the number 20, and therefore the word year appears in the singular, alluding to the unity of thought and jubilee that are not separated. This makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to read this is the quote straight out of the Zohar. So we're going to read the footnotes now and see what he's saying. Footnote number 30. Genesis 23, verse 1. The text will proceed to examine specific nuances in the presentation of the Hebrew numbering employed in the verse. Here is the full verse with these nuances highlighted. Vayiyu chaye Sarah, mea shana, ve'esra shana, ve'sheva shanim. Now, every time you say shana means years. So, shana, shana, shana. Shnei chaye Sarah, the years of the life of Sarah. Footnote 31. 100 daily blessings. Also in the Talmud of Brachot. Our sages established that every day, upon the first occasion of our deriving benefit from the natural system of the world, we are to recite a blessing. This enables us to complete the required quota of reciting 100 blessings every day, beginning in the evening and continuing throughout the day. King David instituted this obligation because at the time, 100 Jews were dying every day for no known reason. King David investigated and subsequently understood through divine inspiration and therefore instituted that we recite 100 100 blessings every day. An allusion to this is found in a verse that refers to King David in the book of Samuel. The words of man elevated on high. The Hebrew word for on high, which is al, over or on high, is numerically equivalent to 100. Ayin is 70 and Lamed is 30 for 100. In this way, the verse can be read as, the words of the man by whom 100 blessings were instituted. The Talmud states in Menachot, one is obligated to recite 100 blessings each day. As the verse states, what or ma does God ask of you? Only to fear God and to serve Him. In the book of Deuteronomy, it says that Moses says to the people after telling them, reminding them, that the manna came down from heaven and you built a golden calf and I broke the tablets and I had to go back up to God and this was tough and even Aaron suffered and everything else and I want to remind you that he brought you through the desert and then he says, and now, this is his long sermon, which he begins at the beginning of the book of Deuteronomy and continues till the midst of the beginning of the fourth portion. What I'm recording now is from the third portion of Deuteronomy. And he says, and now, what is God asking of you, if not only to fear Him? That's all He wants from you. In other words, to remind yourself, be in awe of Him, that He's around. Not to fear, to be afraid of Him, but to be in awe of Him. That's all God wants me. So he says, Va'ata, and now, ma Hashem Elokecha. What? The word ma means what? What is God asking of you? Oh, all he wants is for you to fear Him. As if that was very easy, by the way. And that's for a different place and a different time, what exactly that means. And the Talmud asks this. Oh, yeah? Fearing God is a little thing? And the Talmud answers, for Moses it was a little thing. That means he was wired that way. But the word that he says, what does God ask of you, is ma. Ma Hashem Elokecha. What is your God asking of you? That word ma. So the Talmud says, do not read the first word as ma, or what, but rather as me'ah. Put a little aleph between the mem and the hey, the and the ha, and you got a me'ah. Now sometimes the sages can do that because the word is so similar to the other word. Ma and me'ah, it's the same thing. It's just an a added to it. You add an a, and the word means now not what, but me'ah means 100. So the Talmud says this is an illusion. It's not. Moses wasn't saying that, but this verse in the Torah alludes to that because it says, and now read it. In this way, the verse can be read as an instruction. 100 blessings does God ask of you, and that makes a lot more sense when Moses is talking to the people. He's saying, and now, 100 blessings is asked of you in order to fear God. You see, wherever you go throughout the day, 100 blessings, a lot of blessings. So that means you're constantly involved in trying to bless God. That will give you a lot of time to think about God and therefore to have awe, to be in awe of God. One way of explaining how it is, how Moses sort of found it in the Torah.
And this is a result of a lot of debate, right?
A lot of discussion.
Not
necessarily debate in this area.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that we have to say 100 blessings because King David established it. Now, why would King David find this? Because he investigated, because 100 people were dying. So to him, there was 100 missing somewhere. And when he looked into it, he realized that Moses had established 100 blessings, and it got lost over time. So with divine help, he came back to the fact that it had to be 100. So it's attributed to him, but really it goes back to Moses' time. The Talmud is just revealing where these things came from. When you don't know where they came from, that's when the debate starts. Because he finds one place in the Torah, the other one finds another place in the Torah, so who do we follow? In the case of Rabbi Yossi Haglili and Rabbi Akiva, for example, we usually follow Rabbi Akiva, except in rare places, because he was a bigger expert, or he had more expertise in whatever area. There are rules how law is established if there is a disagreement. Obviously, because the law can only be done one way. It's either yes or no, or either kosher or not kosher, or either they go this way to the right or to the left. There has to be a clarity. And in places where there's no clarity, you're left with, and plenty of places in the Talmud where they get stuck. And they say, we are stuck. We can't go any further here. The debate is over, and we haven't come to any understanding. And therefore, you have doubts. And a lot of those are in the questions of divorce and marriage. And if somebody said this way and that way, and the words that you say, that's why you need a rabbi, you know, an expert whenever there is a wedding or a divorce, because, God forbid, because the nuances are very difficult. And so you can say one word, you can mess the whole thing up. You know, double ring ceremony. You ever heard of double ring ceremony? Double ring is when the groom gives the bride and the bride gives the groom. If that happens at a wedding, the entire thing is invalid. It's completely not, it's as if they're not married. Well, I can't get into this now, it's complicated. But the bottom line is, you cannot do that. The husband has to acquire, now he doesn't acquire his wife, he acquires the responsibility of which are in the ketubah by giving her the ring, by giving her something of monetary value, and by her putting her finger out and accepting it. That's enough. That's an acceptance. That's saying, it's like saying I do. Not have to say anything.
So when a Jew says Baruch Hashem, he's filling in part that commandment.
No, that's not the blessing.
100 times a day.
That's not a blessing. No. Baruch Hashem means blessed God. In other words, thank God. But that's not the blessing that he's looking for. He's looking for Baruch Atah. Now, where do you find 100 blessings like that? So the Talmud specifies it. In the morning blessings, we have 18 of them, and then in the Amida, 18 Shmona Esser. There's actually 19 blessings times 3, because you got morning, afternoon, and evening. So there you're already up to about 75. And then there are blessings in the prayer, other blessings in the prayers. 3 or 4 in each of the prayers, morning and night. And then there is the food. And every time you say benching, there's four different blessings on that. And then there's the first blessing. And if you eat 3 meals a day, you have 3 times that. And so on and so forth. Go to the bathroom, and there's different blessings that people make all day. Drink a cup of coffee. So you get to 100, you get more than 100. Shabbos is the problem, because Shabbos we don't say 18 or 19 blessings in the Amida. It's only only a 7 blessing Amida. So on Shabbos you got to find ways, find different ways. Anyway, the discussion about this is a beautiful, it's an absolutely beautiful discussion in the Talmud. It's very, very, brachas, that's why it's so nice, because it gives you the daily understanding of how the day is structured and why we do certain things. It's not that much arguing there. There's a lot of discussions, but not that much arguing. It's just, it gives you an appreciation.
They bring in their different points of view.
Oh, absolutely.
It's really fascinating.
Oh, yeah. Talmud
Brilliant.
Talmud is
Brilliant.
absolute brilliance, yeah. And it's eye-opening, because and nothing is without a source. If anybody says something, where do you get that from?
Right.
Huh? Let's hear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, so the 100 daily blessings is the completion of a day. So you see from here that the number 100 represents 100 ultimate in blessings. And that's the secret, what he said, to the 100 daily blessings. 100 daily blessings indicates to us that this is a place, you're blessing God 100 times, all Jewish people. That means this is a place where you have a unity of God like unprecedented, because we're looking for 100 every day.
So literally, you look for 100. You count how many blessings you've done in a day, or you?
I don't have to.
You know it.
I
Right?
make
You've
it.
done it so much.
Yeah, I make them every day. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do it. I know how
But
many
if
blessings.
I were going to start, I'd have to kind of count to make sure I got there.
Well, if you said the Amida every day, if you davened every day, if you just simply prayed every day, you would make 57 just from saying the Amida. You would make another 18 in the morning, and that would be 57 plus 18 is 75. And then every time you ate something, every time you went to the bathroom, you went 4 or 5 times in a day, you make a blessing out of that. That's a 80. And then there's the food that you eat.
Hands washing.
That's before eating the bread. You
Yeah.
make on the till you're dying, and by the time you're done, you got it. And you eat, through the day. You're going to eat some, breakfast. You're going to maybe, if you don't eat bread, you might make 4 or 5 blessings on different things that you have in front of you, and then again for lunch, and then again for supper, and the after blessing. Before you go, before you know it, you got your 100. It's pretty good. Yeah.
So did it stop the 100 Jews dying?
Yes.
How long did it take?
100 days.
I don't know. 100 days. No, that's a lot of people. Okay. Now, footnote number 33. Thought and jubilee are alternative terms. They're just terms for the sfirot of Chokhmah and Bina, respectively, as will be explained further. These two sfirot are inseparable and are always united. These two sfirot, or heavenly energies, are called wisdom and understanding. He calls wisdom thought, and he calls understanding jubilee. Why is that? Because wisdom is locked up. We've discussed this at great length previously. Wisdom is in your mind, and you can't define it. What is wisdom? Can you tap your wisdom into your wisdom? You hope so. You have to think. Once your wisdom is unleashed, though, it's still not defined. It has to be expanded and understood through understanding. The next level of your intellect, understanding something. So wisdom is in the recesses of your mind. And understanding is what your mind is working on to understand whatever thing you have wisened up about. And that's why it's called freedom. He's going to say this later. That's why it's called release. So what is the term? Is jubilee. Because it releases, it opens up the wisdom and expands it, and it helps you understand what you're thinking about, what the wisdom is. So therefore, when you say 20, it's a reference to a double digit. So the 100 is a reference to a much higher way. When you say 20, it's a reference to wisdom and understanding. That's double. That's 10 plus 10. 10 meaning a much bigger digit than the single. So the intellect is given much more credence than the rest of us, which are characteristics. Characteristics are single units. Because this is kindness, and this is judgment, and this is compassion, and this is endurance, and this is humility. Each one is defined very carefully, so they're single digits. But wisdom is about all of this. And understanding is about kindness and love and judgment and endurance and humility and compassion and so on. So it's more encompassing. The intellect is more encompassing than the single digits, which are the defined levels of characteristics. So this is what he says here. And we're going to go back to the beginning of that paragraph. 100 years, the Holy One is united in a supernal place, which is most hidden, the level of 100. That's in the secret of 100 daily blessings. That's a very high level, a level of unifying God through doing different things in this world. Through praying and through eating and through just doing our basic needs, we incur blessings to God. So this is the unity of God and the people. That's a blessing. And that's a very high level, 100. Likewise, we've gotten a level of 20 years, and therefore the word year appears in the singular, alluding to the unity of thought, which is wisdom, and jubilee, which is understanding, that are not separated. Then you have 20, 10 and 10. The 7 years, however, are divided into the categories of judgment and mercy and so forth. Hence, the use of shanim, years, in the plural, and not shana in the singular. Let's look at footnote 34. In the Hebrew verse, the singular word year Shana is used with the numbers 120. Me'ah shana, esrim shana. But when mentioning the 7 years, the verse switches to the plural, years. Sheva shanim, not shana, but shanim. The Zohar explains that the use of the singular form indicates a state of unity. That means they're all basically the same. Thus, the singular form uses a state of unity. It means they're all different. They're all unique. Thus, the numbers 120 allude to levels of spirituality which are in a state of unity, not fragmentations, not pieces, but they are units on their own. They're whole units. Conversely, the number 7 is symbolic of a lower level of spirituality in which there exists division and fragmentation. Hence, the word years is in the plural form. Okay, now we're going to make a break now till next week, and we will then go over what we just said now in order to continue with the explanation of it.
So, Rabbi, my question is, in footnote 33, when we talked about thought and jubilee, and then we go over to Chokmah and Bina. It kind of makes sense for the 100, the Me'ah Shana, but where does the 20, like, is that the Bina? And because Chokmah and Bina are not separate, like, how does Bina come in?
Chachma is 10, and Bina is another 10, for a total of 20.
Oh, so they combine.
They are combined. Those two are never separated. Why they're never separated? Because if you want to understand something, you need the wisdom, and the understanding helps you understand the wisdom. So they are considered, in Kabbalah, they're called two friends that are never separated. They call them Re'in, two friends, the Lamed Parshin, that never separated. Why they're never separated? Because they need each other in order to help. Each one of them is required for the other one. You can have wisdom on its own, but it's useless. So you need understanding. You need to bring it down, and bringing it down is understanding it. Now, what does all this mean? This is just a statement out of the Zohar, and that's all the Zohar is basically saying. And the Zohar is codes. You got to expand each one of them. And the Zohar is the foundation of everything, and then it takes all the commentaries and Hasidic teachings and Kabbalistic teachings to get it understood. All right, so next week we will get back to these three ideas, the units of hundreds and doubles and singles, and then we'll explain how this has anything to do with anything. He's going to get into some Kabbalistic stuff now. And this is just one introduction.